In this episode of the show, I want to talk to you about how you can make your kick drum sound better. That's coming up on Home Music Studio One. All right, hey guys, Dave Maxey. Welcome back to the show. As always, this is the place where you can learn to produce professional quality home music studio recordings, and you can do that even on a limited budget. You can also find me online at homemusicstudio1.com. So I want to show you a really simple tip here today, working with kick drum, really how to make your kick drum sound better. Now, it's a little bit tongue-in-cheek with that statement because sound better is relative, right? We all might have different goals depending on the kick drum sound that you're after. But this is a technique that you might not have considered. So I'm working on a project here. In fact, in my last video, I showed you a little bit of what I've done with the keys and the piano sound in this project. And here's kind of what I'm running into. I'm starting to now build the drum tracks. I've got really all my MIDI laid out of the drum tracks. If you've been around homemusicstudio1.com for any length of time, you know I'm a big fan of the Addictive Drums virtual instrument, which is what I'm building this project with. And what I'm noticing is that my kick drum sounds great, but I don't want a metal-sounding kick drum with a really high-tick kind of beater sounding that would really cut through the mix, but really just kind of takes the genre of the song to a different direction. Nor do I want a really, really super warm kind of R&B kick where it's lots and lots of lows, but not a whole lot of definition. I'm kind of trying to find somewhere in between. So a little bit of the sound here, what I'm dealing with. Here's my kick drum. So truthfully, that kick drum sounds really great. It's got a lot of meat to it. We definitely have some definition going on, but it's just missing a little something for what I'm after to really pop out of that mix. So let me let you hear this in the context of what I have so far. I've got an acoustic in there. I haven't really done much else but worked on the drums, but I've got a little bit of the piano in there still, acoustic, a little bit of bass line, kind of give you an idea of what we're working with. Let's listen. Okay, so all in all, that really sounds good. But this is a technique that you can use in your projects to really help that kick drum just kind of shine a little bit more in the mix, and you can kind of tailor this to your taste. I'm also going to say I'm going to show you how I do this in Addictive Drums, but I'm also going to show you another way that you can do this if you're not using Addictive Drums. So stick with me, all right? So really, the first thing I'm going to do, just by way of explanation, I've got a few things happening here. I'm using the multiple outs with the Addictive Drums plugin, all right? So if you're using a different VSTI, no doubt you've got a similar functionality. So I'm using the multiple outs in post-fader mode, and what that does is it means that these faders here inside the plugin actually bring my volumes up or down in correlation to these direct outs, okay? I'm using both the channel and the master output, and the reason I'm doing that is all of these channels output individually to their own channel, and then they all output to this master channel. So I'm kind of getting away with a little bit of kind of a sloppy way to do parallel compression. That's a little tidbit there. I am doing actual parallel compression in the bus mix, okay? So you can see I've got certain drums that are sent. I'm not doing my hi-hat, and I'm not doing any of these flex channels because I don't actually have anything in there right now other than this little... more cowbell, right? I'm not using the cowbell at all in the mix. But so a little bit of parallel compression. Of course, I got my room mic and everything happening. And this is the sound of the kit that you're getting. You can hear see exactly what I'm doing EQ-wise. What I'm really going to do to kind of help this kick sound better in the mix is add a little bit of distortion to the top end of the kick drum. Now, keep in mind that distortion, we're going to add it directly to the channel itself of just the kick. So that means this is not overtaking all of the tracks that are making up my kick drum sound. In other words, I've got kick drum, a little bit of the top end, my overhead mic. I've got a little bit of that kick drum that is happening in my room microphones. A little bit of the kick definitely is being, actually quite a bit of the kick is being parallel compressed in the bus mix, all right? Those are all elements that are making up the sound of my kick drum. So those are kind of freebies for you if you think a little bit of how I'm processing these. What we're doing then is this direct channel output for just the kick drum we want to add a little bit of distortion and or saturation depending on what you have available. To do that in Addictive Drums, it's pretty simple. I just go over here to my kick drum, click on my compression and distortion. I'm already compressing this, and I'm just going to add a little bit of this heavy distortion on there. I'm going to control the amount. I'm going to exaggerate this a little bit so you can hear what we're dealing with. Let's go ahead and solo just the kick drum, and I'm going to boost the volume up on this so you can hear a little bit more of what we got going on. Let's listen. Okay, so you can definitely hear, hopefully you got decent enough headphones on or studio monitors, you can hear the breakup happening. One of the things I'm doing is I've got this guy right here. This is a high-pass filter of this effect. So what this is saying is anything below where this bottom end is set is not getting distorted. So I'm trying to really keep that distortion out of the girth of the bottom end of that kick drum, which is right around that 60 hertz for this particular kick drum. Somewhere right around in there. And of course, I've exaggerated that quite a bit. What I really want to do is have just a tiny bit of breakup on kind of that upper low end to all the way to my high end of that kick drum. Really, for the most part, somewhere around that 7-8K is really about as maximum as what I need to go in this case. We'll try somewhere around in there. And I'm going to push this up to where I can hear that breakup and then just back the amount down a little bit. I've got my mix 50%. This kind of balances that dry signal with a little bit of this distortion. Let's listen again. Okay, so I've got this a little bit exaggerated because I want you to hear this effect. Now what I'm going to do is listen to this in the context of my project. And I'm going to kind of adjust that amount there till I can hear that kick just shine a little bit more in the mix. Let's listen. Okay, hopefully you can hear the difference there. It's a subtle change that just adds a little bit of that high-end harmonic distortion, if you will. A little bit of that saturation kind of helps that shine through the mix. Now, if you don't have Addictive Drums and you've got any other virtual instrument or you've recorded an acoustic drum kit and you're just dealing with a straight-up kick drum, there's another way that we can accomplish the same thing here. This is a free VSTi right here. Actually, we've got a couple of different options, I believe, not just VSTi. Looks like audio units, RTAS. This is a great little plugin from Klanghelm. The IVGI, it's saturation and or distortion. Love this little guy. It's not something you're going to use on every track, but it has some great uses, particularly in this case. So I'm going to basically do the same effect here, but I'm going to add this directly to the kick drum track itself, okay? Right now, it's disabled, so we'll go ahead and kick this on. And I'll listen to this track here, kind of exaggerate it a little bit so we can hear what this guy's doing here. Okay, so you can hear the breakup there. The neat thing about this plugin here is I can tailor the response where I want that saturation to happen. So I've got this pushed up on the high frequency. So it's kind of responding more. It's kind of distorting and adding that saturation to the high end of the mix. And so what I'm going to do is just kind of find the point where it breaks up here a little bit and then back it down. And then we'll listen to this in the context of our mix again and see what we need to tweak. Okay, let's go ahead and do a little bit of A-B in the mix. Now you notice I've got the mix option here right up and down, 50% more or less. Let's go ahead and take a listen in the context of the mix now. All right, there you have it, guys. Super easy technique to do, and depending on the style that you're working with, you can get a lot of great sounds to really help that kick drum sound much better, or really kind of punch through your mix a little bit. I'll put a link to this description here so that you can download this free VST if you're so interested in, depending on the project that you're working on. So with that, if you've not yet click subscribe on this YouTube video, I want to invite you to do that. It lets other people know this content, and hopefully you know someone that this can be helpful to. You can also share this video. And then if you've yet to join us in my free Affordable Home Recording Tips newsletter, I want to invite you to click the link in the bottom of this video. If you're watching this on mobile, you can click the link in the upper, or the eye icon in the upper right of your screen, drop your email in that list, and just as a thank you from me to you for signing up, I'm going to send my free ebook out to you entitled Understanding Compression in the Home Music Studio, just as a thank you. With that, guys, we'll hopefully be making better recordings, and until next time, this is Dave Maxey with Home Music Studio One.